Peace everyone, Unmask here. Welcome back to the Drawing Journal. Alright, so as you can see, I'm drawing this bear here. This is a tutorial that I was working on for Patreon, and this is about how far I got last Friday. And I'm just finishing it up today, hopefully. Actually, realistically, probably not going to finish it up today, but I'm going to work on it for sure. And yeah, hope everybody had a nice weekend. I had a fantastic weekend. Like, it was just a great weekend. I don't remember Friday though. I don't remember what I did Friday evening because I kind of consider Friday to be the weekend. Instead of the last day of the work week. But I honestly can't remember what I did Friday. But let's see. Let me try to recall as much as I can from the last live stream. So from last week. The first thing that I want to mention is that I am officially a resident of Poland. That was some really exciting news that Anna and I got this week. Is that I am now legally a resident of Poland. I no longer have to leave the country. I can just stay here and live my life with my wife. So it's very exciting news, and we were thrilled to have found that out last week. So that's one good thing. I think I found out Wednesday or Thursday. I'm not quite sure which day it was, but it was one of those days, and yeah, very exciting. So that was, honestly, couldn't ruin my week no matter what happened after getting that news. So hello Wendy, Vinyak, Hildy, Yefos, Chrissy, and Noi. Glad you could come to the live stream. I'm doing today's live stream a little bit early because there's some things I gotta take care of in town. I have to meet Anna after work, and we gotta finish taking care of some paperwork for the residency process. And probably before the end of the week, I'm gonna have my Polish ID, which is gonna be really cool to have. So it's been a good week. The weekend was even better. So Saturday, it was a little concerning about the weather, but the weather ended up being like perfect Saturday, which was really great. I was super glad that the weather turned out as well as it did on Saturday, because Anna and we jumped on a bus and went to Krakow for the day, did some shopping, and got some good food. I mean, I would say like 60% of the reason we go to Krakow is to get food. So it was nice to finally take a little trip there, a little day trip, walk around, and enjoy some good food. So that's what we did Saturday. And it actually said that it was supposed to rain, but it turned out it didn't rain at all. In fact, it was barely cloudy. It was actually just really nice weather. So everything turned out like ideal. And since it was supposed to rain, it wasn't too hot either. So everything just was perfect. And then of course, so Saturday evening, and I mentioned this last week, I had to stay up a little bit later, so I had to stay up until about 4 in the morning Sunday morning, or Saturday night, however you want to think about it, because I did the Color Pencil podcast interview with John and Lisa. For those of you familiar with the Color Pencil podcast, I will be a guest on there. I think the podcast will come out in about a week or two. I'm not quite sure exactly what day it's supposed to come out, but I can assure you that when it does, I'll certainly share the link and let everybody know. but it was just so much fun. Truly, it was an honor to be on the show, and it was a lot of fun. So I hope everybody is excited to see this show, or to hear it. It's not video, it's just audio. But it was a lot of fun and a great conversation too. It was honestly, I felt like it could have been a lot longer, but it was still really great to finally talk to Lisa and talk to John, because I mean, many of you that follow my channel know Lisa of Legria Fine Art, and I've been a huge fan of hers for like the very beginning. Like she was a huge influence in starting my channel, and she still remains a huge influence to my work and the way that I operate my business and my career as an artist. And she's just a wonderful person and a lovely resource for information. So thank you, Anastasia. I'm glad you like the drawing so far. I have a ton of work to do with it. I'm actually trying to focus on what I need to do with this drawing right now, but it's not working out too well. I need to concentrate a little bit and figure out what I need to do. Let's see. But yeah, so that was my Saturday and / Sunday morning, and I went right after I got off Skype with those two. I went straight to sleep, and I woke up I think about 10:30. So yeah, I think I woke up about 10:30 Sunday morning, and Sunday was perfect. Sunday was just like the perfect day. Anna and I, we didn't even get out of bed. Like the entire Sunday, we just watched. We watched like the entire second season of Modern Family, and we love that show. Like, if you've never seen Modern Family, you're missing out on like one of the most perfect shows to just be a lazy bum to, because you can just watch that show and do nothing with your life and just enjoy it. But we watched almost the entire second season. So we started watching 10:30, 11 o'clock or something like that, and we just watched it until we went to sleep, which was about 11, I think, somewhere around that time. And it was just the best way to spend the Sunday. It was just perfect. I wouldn't have changed a single thing about it. But yeah, so that was the weekend, and then I got up this morning and pretty much did nothing. I have quite a few things I need to complete today, but yeah, I kind of let myself get behind again, which is not a good thing. But the weekend was so nice that I couldn't help it. So for this drawing here, like I mentioned, this is part of a Patreon tutorial. I'm just trying to finish it up, but one of the new techniques that I showed for this specific drawing is etching. I just used this little tool to etch into the paper before I started drawing, and yeah, it adds a lot of it adds a lot of texture, and I like the way it's coming out so far. Yeah, we had quite a few laughs on the podcast as we were recording it. Um, they're just they were asking me just a bunch of questions about how I got started, some of the history of my channel. I mean, we talked about so much stuff. Uh, I just feel like there's just too much to cover. But hopefully, I'd love to do it again too, because there was so much that we talked about, but I feel like there's so much more we could have, and I hope that in the future I can be on the podcast again, because it was just so much fun. It was just a blast. So hopefully it won't be the first and last time that I'm on the podcast. We'll uh, get together and do it again in a couple months or something like that. I don't know, but hopefully sometime soon. All right, I don't even know what I'm doing right now. I'm gonna add some of this darker brown, this brownish red. Like I said, I'm not really paying attention to what I'm doing uh, for this picture here. I need to finish off. I need to finish off building just some of the base layers, and then I'll start adding some more texture over top of it. Where's my brown? Let me get this. You might be able to see that when I blend it out with the paint thinner here in a minute or two, you might be able to see those little etched lines that I did. That's creating a majority of the texture that you see in the fur right now, because it has furish texture, but I haven't drawn any of the fur texture. The only thing that's making it look kind of furry right now is just the etching that I did before coloring it. That's a good question, Wendy. So for those of you that aren't watching the live stream live and able to read the comments, Wendy's question is, besides money, what keeps me motivated and inspired during those times that I don't feel like working on art? Well, I'd have to say that I'd have to preface by saying that I don't know if I've ever really been motivated by money, because I don't make nearly enough of it to be motivated by that factor just yet. Maybe in the future, money might be a motivating factor, but to be honest with you, right now it's really not. Maybe it's more of the motivating factor in the sense that the only way I'll ever be able to make more money is if I continue working. But even that's not much of a motivating factor. I would say that the absolute major factor that keeps me, waking up in the morning and sitting in my studio all day long is that I enjoy creating for everybody that enjoys my work. I mean, it's motivating me to do one more picture when I post a picture on Instagram or something and get a lot of people commenting saying they like it, blah blah blah. Or when I do these live streams, like I love starting Mondays off with the drawing journal, doing these live streams, because it motivates me for the rest of the week. Because I come on here, I do a little bit of drawing, I get all of you lovely people, asking me questions, encouraging me, just being awesome. And it gets me through the rest of the week to do all the work that I need to do. Well, maybe not all the work, but I try to do most of it. Uh, but yeah, I mean that's what keeps me motivated for the most part. Uh, is not the money, but the people. So um, I'm on Instagram. If you're not following me, the link's in the description. Yeah, right now I'm using the Luminance Caran Dash pencils, but I also have some polychromos here that I'll switch to. I'll use a little bit of each depending on what color I need to get, but I switch between the two ever since I bought them. I kind of did the base layers. Most of the base layers in this drawing were done with the polychromos, because when you lay the polychromos first and then you lay the wax base over top, I get I get a little bit smoother blending between the two pencils when I start with the polychromos. So that's why I do that. I'm just right now I'm just kind of scribbling, as you can see, because trying to get I'm trying to just get the colors down. I'm not really trying to do any detail stuff. All of that detail stuff will come in the following layers once I get some of these darker colors, shadows and things in. And I'm not going to be trying to get like super realistic with this bear. Just I'm testing out this technique of etching because it was the first time that I really applied it to a drawing to this scale. So yeah, I feel like I feel like in the past couple weeks I haven't really completed anything. I don't know. Maybe it's just because time has felt like it's just gone by really quickly or something like that. But I feel like I haven't produced any memorable work for myself. Like nothing that I kind of remember doing. I just I have I have this. I guess I did. I guess I did some pastel pieces that I did on the live stream. Those were fun. But other than that, I don't really remember all that much. I'm going to add some of this 906 color. Try to darken this fur a little bit before moving on. Let's see here. So if you have any questions about anything, feel free to ask. I don't even know what else to talk about. I'm trying to focus a little bit on my reference photo, because I would like to stream a little bit longer today, but like I mentioned in the beginning, I do have to go into town today, so I have to leave a little bit early, which is why I'm kind of streaming a little bit early than I normally do. I kind of like to do it around 2 or even 3, but I gotta get prepared and head out for the day. Take care of some registration stuff. I'll also have to do that tomorrow, but I don't normally stream tomorrow. This week though, I might actually do a live stream Wednesday. I'm gonna try. I can't make any promises, but I'd really like to do an extra one this week, or at least get another video put together, because I don't know. I have other videos that are kind of old, and I actually considered not even bothering to upload them or anything, but I don't know. It's tough to say, to be honest with you. It's tough to say. Let's see here. I'm going to add some of this red. I'm going to bring in some red to the fur. Just a little bit in some of the shadow areas. This is, so the bear itself for the reference photo is more of an orange bear. It's a little, the fur is a lot more orange looking, and the background has blue in it. It has quite a bit of blue. Some of the shadow areas and stuff are blue, but I decided to keep my background really green, and then instead of doing blue and orange, I'm doing green and red. So more of a reddish bear and more of a greenish background, just to bring in some interesting complement to the piece. So that's what I had decided to do here. I always try to, not always, but I try to incorporate complements when it makes sense. I don't overdo it, but it's something that I'm usually conscious of when I'm coloring just about anything. I always try to find a way to bring some interest into the piece, and complements are a really good way to do that. So I have a few different reds that I'm going to incorporate into the bear throughout the drawing process, just to bring in a little bit of complement to it. All right. Now I'm going to blend it out a little bit. See what I'm working with here. Yeah, that red is super bright right there. I haven't incorporated any black yet into the fur, so the values right now are still pretty washed out, and it's not quite as contrasted, because like I mentioned, I'm just kind of working on the base layers to slowly build up the values and kind of the form of the bear. Get those general colors in first, and then go through and add your details and stuff. That's what I like to do. That's the path I like to take. I don't like to focus too much on the details early on, because I feel like they end up just getting covered, and it feels like a bit of a waste wasted effort to try to focus on the details too much early on. Especially when you're blending with paint thinner, because all those details just get kind of smeared. They just get faded out, so yeah, I have a lot of that orange red kind of starting to pop off the page a little bit once I mix it with some paint thinner. It starts to come through a little bit brighter. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. I'm glad to see some of you trading some Instagrams in the chats. That's really cool. It's always nice to have another platform to connect with other artists and things like that. So I don't have any problems with you chatting it up and sharing Instagrams in the chat. I think that's cool. So is anybody working on a new project? Something cool? You can always tag me on Instagram or Facebook if you want. I'd be happy to check it out. For the pastel pieces, yes, actually, I have a more complicated piece for a live stream that I would like to do it Wednesday. I wanted to do it last week, but I just didn't have the opportunity. I'm trying not to spread myself out too thin or to overwork myself. But I would like to do it as a live stream, and it'd probably take like 2 hours, because it's going to be of a rabbit, either a rabbit and a bubble or a rabbit and a butterfly. I don't know. I thought about doing a rabbit and a bubble, but yeah, I don't know. But I've been wanting to do something a bit more complicated with pastels. Actually, I've been wanting to do something a bit more complicated just in general, because a lot of the things that I feel like I've drawn the past few weeks or so have been rather focused on tutorial rather than, like doing something really complicated or different. Yes, using Powder Blender is definitely something that I've been wanting to try again, because I've only tried it a few times, and I've only shared what I've done with it like once, I think. But I've been wanting to do another project with the Powder Blender, because I have the paper. I have different paper that I wanted to try it out on, paper that's recommended in Aliona's book, and goodness, I don't know. It's between setting up and doing a tutorial every week over on Patreon, it's really, really limited the amount of extra time that I have for anything else, really. And I haven't gotten much opportunity in the past couple months to really sit down and find a project that I want to work on. And it's been pretty tough. It's been pretty tough to find that extra time to start working on like a more personal project that, you know, I kind of consider original or something along those lines. Oh, hello, Crossing Cat. Yeah, that sounds like fun. Doing some foam sculpting, make some of your own puppets. Yeah, that would be cool. I always feel like it'd be fun to do, like make cosplay costumes from like your favorite characters or whatever. That would be a lot of fun. There's I One of the problems I have is I always have so many like things I'd like to do. You know, when it comes to creating, I really don't I really don't have anything specific that I'm not willing or wanting to try. So like working with wood or clay or any medium imaginable, and really I stick to drawing and it's things like that because I don't have the space for like big creative processes, you know, like making stuff out of wood or, you know, obviously I don't have tools for such a thing. But I've always wanted I've always wanted to do something just crazy and out there and create just really cool things. My I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, but my brother, he owns his own business and he creates custom furniture. Um, and it's so cool. It's so cool to see, to visit his shop and to see the things that he makes. And um, goodness, he is, yeah, he's inspiring for sure. He's inspiring. He's a couple years, 1 or 2 years younger than me, uh, and yeah, he's quite successful for where he's at, and he just had a baby, so a lot going on in his life. All right, now the bear is starting to look pretty good now. It's since the fur is filled out some. Oh, Wendy, that sounds really cool. Having the landscape behind the bubble be out of focus, and then you come to the bubble and all the landscapes in detail and stuff. That sounds really cool. All right, let's see. What can I do to this bear to make him look better? I need some gray. Let's add some gray here. Just I'm still working on the values. Just trying to get everything correct in that way, and then I'll start adding some of the finer details. That's where that's where it get more tedious and a lot less fun to watch, unfortunately. Okay. Well, real quick, sniper. If you use a brush to put the gesso on your board, and then you use sandpaper, you can sand it afterwards to get rid of your brush strokes. Just an idea. If you try again to gesso, you don't necessarily have to use an airbrush to get a smooth layer of the gesso. You can just airbrush it. I mean, you can just sand it. All right. There's lots of gray in this fur here. Oh, you did sand it? Yeah, because I remember when I was oil painting more often, and I gessoed my canvas or I gessoed my panels, I always sanded them afterwards to get rid of the brush strokes. If you couldn't get rid of the brush strokes, it could have been the grit of the sandpaper. So maybe try a lower grit, like 320 or something like that. Something a little rougher to dig out the brush strokes more. Could always try that, I suppose. Oh, goodness gracious. Alright, let's switch up to some of this here. Soften these highlights a little bit so that they're not so bright. And I'm kind of just sketching or coloring in the direction that the fur is going, but I'm not really drawing anything. I'm still just coloring in. Thanks for stopping by, Crossing Cat. You have a lovely day. Let's see. I don't know what to say. What time is it? Okay, it's not too late. I could probably stream for a little bit longer before I gotta give myself a chance to get ready to leave. So if you have any last minute questions, I think I'll try to finish up this layering that I'm doing now, and then from there I'll blend it out. And then I'll probably have to jump off here and start getting ready. So if you have any last questions, feel free to ask. I apologize for the short live stream, but sometimes I have things to do. Not usually, though. Hopefully you enjoyed the live stream, despite how short it was. think I've added all the red that I want showing up in this bear. I mean, it's really, really obvious right now just how much red there is. And it's almost too much, but once I add details over top, once I start adding in the finer details, that red will kind of go away a little bit. So not too concerned about how red some of this bear looks right now because he's pretty red looking. Yeah, he's pretty red. But I don't have, let's see, his chin here is much darker. I need to add a little bit of shadow here. There we go. That's a little bit better. Maybe darken this up here. There we go. I almost think that his nose needs some work to it as well. I feel like it's not quite as dark as it should be. Let me grab this gray here. I think there's some of the areas here need a bit of gray to them. And let's see, I think I need to sharpen this before I start coloring. Yeah. This area here is a bit too bright for his nose. Sometimes you see the reference photo differently depending on the size in which you're looking at. Because I'm kind of zoomed out of my reference photo so that I don't focus too much on detail, and I see more of I see a bit more of just the values of the image overall. So sometimes zooming in too closely can be, a hindrance, especially in the early on drawing process. You might want to stay zoomed out of your reference photo a little bit to leave room for, some of that detail to be lost, so that you can add it later on and focus a bit more on just the values and colors. Now I'm adding a bit of black to some of this, some of these areas here. This is the first time that I've added black to this drawing. So I've avoided black all the way up to this point, and I do that for a few reasons. I do it, one, because I want to maximize the values with the colors that I use first. Because if I just jump right in with black, I feel like it often kind of makes the image a little bit flatter looking than if I just use it a little bit later on to add the value where I really, really need it to be darker. So I like to use it only in the kind of end and only a little bit. So really get those dark shadows really dark, but I always add color over top of it so that I avoid any flat spots. Sorry, I think I might have missed a couple questions. What is my goal to hit by the end of the year with my channel? My goal really, so my goal right now is to get one more video series up on my website to sell, which is going to be the Intro to Color Pencil course. And I'm hoping to start recording that course next month. And it's like I said, I mentioned this before. The intro to color pencil course is not going to be as long as my intro to pastel course was. It's going to be quite a bit shorter. I'm most likely not going to do a Kickstarter for it. I'm just going to make it and then start selling it on my website. And it's going to be like maybe 3 or 4 kind of series, 3 or 4 videos, but a bit shorter probably. I don't know. I haven't planned it out thoroughly yet. I've just kind of had it in my head thinking about it. But that is one goal for sure that I have for the end of the year. And for my channel specifically, as far as like subscribers, oh goodness, it'd be really great to get up to, I don't know, I think a realistic goal would be like 15,000 subscribers. So I think I'm just a few away from 11,000. So about 4 more thousand subscribers. I think that would be kind of nice. Unless I happen to make a video that for some reason gets shared a lot and I get a lot of new subscribers and I hit like 20,000, that would be awesome. But I would like to get a few more people over on Patreon. That's certainly something that is important for me able to continue this career, because I'm trying to diversify the amount where I can make money, because I know some people don't want to do like the monthly subscription thing on Patreon, which is what kind of gave me the idea to make, just purchase one-time tutorials on my website. And now that I'm able to sell things on my website, I wouldn't mind being able to set up like prints, maybe selling prints on my website or something like that. But again, I'd have to try to focus and be able to create some artwork that's worth getting prints of or worth trying to sell prints of, because I've never really sold prints other than as rewards on Kickstarter. So it would be a market that I'm not quite familiar with. I don't get a lot of interest of people wanting to buy prints. Nobody's ever asking me if I sell prints, so I just kind of never really put in the energy to start making and selling prints. I give little prints away over on Patreon, but it's really hard. It's been really hard for me to do the shipping and things, because when I ship things, I always have to go with my wife because I can't speak Polish, and they usually don't speak English, so it makes it kind of hard to do shipping and mailing things out, because I mean the post offices, they're pretty small, and there's not a lot of foreign people that mail packages from Poland, so you don't often get English speaking people in the post office. They're also usually older, and the older generations weren't taught English. So if you talk to anybody, if you talk to anybody that's like over 35, maybe 40, it's a lot less likely that they speak English, because they weren't in school learning English when they were in school. So the shipping thing kind of makes it a bit harder. Not to mention it's pretty expensive for me to ship things from Poland, so I try to not encourage people to buy things that that I would have to ship. But good question. I'm glad that you asked. I always enjoy talking about my goals. It gives me ideas for the future. Gives you an idea of what I may or may not be working on. Um, but yeah, short live stream or not, it's a good way to start my day in the States. Thank you, Stephen. I'm always glad that you enjoy it. Let's see, what else did I miss? I was kind of talking there for a while. Let's see. Da-da-da-da. I'm not sure I'm part of that conversation. I'm trying to see if I missed any questions. Because after I blend this out, I'm going to jump off here and start getting ready. So maybe 5 or 6 more minutes you have to ask questions. But regardless of that, I appreciate everybody that came by to hang out and watch me work on this bear here. I think last week somebody mentioned that they came across this same picture. I don't even remember where I got this picture. I'm kind of bad about that. Like I kind of just look up pictures and draw whatever I want, because I never have any intention of selling these or anything like that. So as far as it being royalty free, I almost never care because I never sell it. I just draw it for practice and to show people different techniques. But somebody had mentioned that they were going to draw this bear picture, but it just looked too sad. So I gave my bear a little bit of a smile, make him look happier. And I didn't make his eyebrows sad. So, yeah. Now you can see that where I added the black, it darkened it, but it also kind of flattened it a little bit because it's just black. So when I add more colors over top of it, it will get better looking. But for now, I'm just going to finish off this blending and then jump off here. Just kind of get some of these colors blended out for the last time. And then I'll be able to kind of work on the details. So for the most part, I think that the base coloring is safe to say that it's done. And I can start actually just going in with more details and getting it to look more realistic. But yeah, not too bad looking at this point. And again, so there's a lot of texture that you might not be able to see at the moment, but where I etched the paper, you can even feel the texture. It's kind of nice. But yeah, it was a fun new technique with the little tool that I used to etch into the paper. And you can use just about any like mildly dull pointed object to etch the paper. Yeah, I know what you mean, Wendy, with the third party print companies where, what is it? I think Fine Art America is one of them, or there's a whole bunch of them. There's a ton of them. Yeah, I never ever like them because they're just thieves. Because they take like 80%, and I realize that they're printing it, they're packaging it, they're shipping it, but they're not doing the only thing that takes any real ability, and that's like creating the artwork. So I never wanted to sign up for anything like that because it's just like, oh, here's my artwork, go ahead and make money off of it, and while when one piece sells, you make $10 and I make 50 cents. So I would never put my artwork up on one of those sites just for that reason. It's more of a principle thing for myself because I just don't like those kind of companies. And in order for me to make any real profit, I'd have to be selling a whole lot of prints. But at the same time, they would be making a tremendous amount of money if I was selling enough prints for it to be worth it. Then that company or whatever would be making so much more money from what I create than what I would be getting. And for me that just seems backwards. So I've never used one of those sites. I did have like a t-shirt store kind of thing. I made a few t-shirts or a hoodie or something like that. And I shared it a really long time ago. This was kind of more of the infancy of my channel, and I thought it'd be a possible revenue source, but nobody ever bought it. Nobody ever bought anything, and I just let it kind of fall to the wayside because it took quite a bit of time for me to make the designs, make them look good, and it just wasn't worth it in the end. Alright, I am just about done blending this out. And low, yes. So as you were, a few people responded, I'm not using water to blend, I'm using odorless paint thinner. I'm just using a Polish brand. So this is what I'm using, if you can even read it. But it's just paint thinner. It's the same kind of paint thinner that you would use to clean your brushes if you're oil painting. So hopefully that's cleared up for you. Alright, so the bear is obviously not very close to being done because there's a ton of detail that I could get into, and I probably will get into, but I'm going to be done for today. That does it. Hopefully, for those of you watching that wanted to learn how to color fur or whatever, hopefully watching me do it kind of helps out or whatever. If you want to learn more about this drawing, then you can always go over to my Patreon page and watch the tutorials for this drawing here or any of the other number of drawings that I have over there. I probably have over 100 hours of tutorials on Patreon at this point. So quite a bit. Anyways, I want to thank everybody for coming by the live stream. Wendy, Sniper, Lolo, let me see, Chrissy, I know you're here, Steven, Wendy, Hildy, everybody. Thanks for coming by. It was fun as always. Hopefully you have an awesome week. I want to say for sure that I will be live streaming on Wednesday, but I can't guarantee it. I want to, I really do, and I'm going to try. So hopefully I'll see you Wednesday. If I don't, then I will see you next Monday for sure. Who knows? Maybe even Saturday. Maybe we'll do something Saturday. Maybe we'll have a surprise live stream. I don't know. Keep your eyes out for notifications, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Peace.